Hi everybody, and welcome back to Teachers Talk Money, where I help teachers master their money in order to give back to themselves. And welcome back to the final installment of our 12 Months to Get Good with Money series. If you've been following along for the past 11 months, you know that this is a series of bite-sized steps that you can take to get good with money over time. So to start out, let's recap all of the financial goals we've had for each and every month and each and every step of this program that I accidentally made a 12-step program without realizing. In January, you made your first budget. In February, you made some savings goals. In March, you separated those savings accounts and you considered whether or not automation was right for you. In April, you made a plan for your taxes depending on your situation. In May, you learned all the general concepts of investing and made a plan to research more on your own. And then in June, you actually made your investing plan. In July, you made a plan to spend less and save more. And in August, we flipped that and made a plan to earn more. In September, you did an exercise to help align your spending with your values. In October, you tried your hand at a no spend challenge, and in November, you made a plan for the holidays. And now it's the final month of 2021. It's December, and you're going to get your final goal for this series today. First, I just want to say that even if you haven't made it through all of the previous goals, if you've only made it through a couple of them, honestly, in all likelihood, you are more on top of your finances than the average person, and you have a lot to be proud about. Honestly, even if you just stuck to the first goal of having a budget, you're already ahead of the average person. And while I've been so honored and happy to offer a bit of guidance each and every month to help you get good with money slowly throughout the year, all of the accomplishments are entirely your own. And like I said, you have so much to be proud of. So this month we are going to celebrate a little, and we are going to also look towards the future. This video and this goal for this month is dedicated to setting audacious goals for yourself and dreaming even bigger than you've allowed yourself to so far. So a lot of people say that I'm a pessimist, and like most pessimists, I think I'm a realist. And what this translates to in my life is obviously a number of things, but one of the things that this translates to is that I am often hesitant to or afraid of setting really ginormous goals. I'm afraid to dream big in a lot of ways. And I know that I am by no means unique in this way, because for most of the people I know, we're not really dreaming big either. A really good example of this in my life was sort of avoiding calculating my FI number. Back a couple of years ago, I was super on top of my finances. I loved reading blog posts and listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos about financial independence and early retirement. But I put off calculating my FI number for the first time for so long. Months into blogging about personal finance, months and potentially even over a year into me taking control of my finances and having a super strong financial plan. I was afraid of looking at the number, and I was afraid of getting a date. I think I used the exact typical way of thinking that I try to steer you guys away from so much, where I was thinking to myself, well, I know I'm doing everything I can, so it's not going to change if I look at it today or tomorrow, and I know I'm doing everything I can, so that's not going to change anything if I look at the actual number right now. And that was my way of avoiding it. Just as I complain about sometimes frugal people who don't keep a budget, saying, well, I'm doing everything I can, I'm cutting back costs everywhere, when in reality, they need a financial plan and they can't just get along being frugal. I was using that exact same type of thinking to avoid something that was scary to me. And while in my mind I was saying, well, I'm doing everything I can, so it's not going to change, the translation of that and what that actually meant was, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to ever reach financial independence or retire early. Or in a lesser version of that, I'm afraid I just won't be happy with the FI date that is the reality for my financial situation. Of course, neither of these things turned out to be true, and it took me actually looking at the numbers and facing the situation head on and refusing to avoid it any longer to figure this out and also to make a plan to improve my FI for the future. So I know that you have a dream or a goal that you are similarly avoiding using the exact same thinking and tactics that I was using about my FI date. And I want you to identify exactly what that is. And I want you to get so specific about what your goals are that you're not hiding them behind the name of other goals. And here's exactly what I'll tell you about that. For instance, a lot of people talk about their main goal being completely free of debt. And that's valid in some senses, but in other senses, being debt-free in and of itself isn't really an end goal. It's more of a means to actually a much bigger goal that you probably have. A great method to figure out the exact source of your goals and what your exact big goals are is to state what your goal is and then ask yourself why repeatedly in order to really funnel that down into what the goal truly is. So let's go through an example together so I can illustrate to you what this means. So say the goal is I want to pay off debt. Ask yourself why. And then a lot of times this brings people to say, well, then I'll be free, or some version of that. I'll have freedom over my time. Why? Ask yourself why again. Maybe the answer is because I won't owe anyone and I'll have $500 a month that I'm paying towards my debt freed up in my budget. Already this is getting so much better to me because it's getting so much more specific. So once again, let's ask why. And maybe the answer is because with $500 a month, I can greatly improve my life. Why? Or I guess how? And maybe the answer is because I can start investing and spend more money on myself. Why? And then that can bring you to an answer like, then I can contribute $250 a month toward in my retirement, and I can use $250 to put in my travel fund and save for a dream vacation that I've wanted forever. And that gets you to the real specific core goal that you should be aiming for, because that specificity is so much more motivating than just this nebulous goal idea of I want to be debt free. So once you've gotten to the real why behind your goals, you can start to go even bigger picture than that and actually envision what would your life look like if you were debt free? What would your life look like if you were retired early or able to pay for your kids' college? If your entire family was taken care of? Get really specific about what a day in your life would look like if those goals were met and really visualize it. Think about how you would spend your days, allocate your money, and how your worldview would shift as a result of that. So I want you to be courageous and really imagine what your dream life would look like. And I'll be a little bit vulnerable with you guys and share what mine looks like. And the reason that this feels so vulnerable to me is because I'm, by a lot of measures, really far away from reaching this goal, but that's okay. That's still my dream goal. So for me, I want to live a life where I can run Teachers Talk Money full time and remain involved probably through coaching on the side in order to stay involved with my school building or just working with kids in general. I want to be able to travel for months at a time, not just take a couple of weeks of vacation every year, in order to really live in the places that I'm traveling and get to know the local culture there. That's the basic overview, but I could get even more specific about that in my mind. I could tell you my ideal schedule for a typical day in my dream life, and I could tell you exactly some of the places that I want to visit, because that's the level of specificity that's motivating for me. I want you to have that level of focus on exactly what you want, because all of your money goals and your life goals are going to come from backwards mapping from that point that you can actually visualize and see. And I don't want you to just say, I want to feel free, or I want to have options. I want you to be able to tell me what's going to happen in that day when you reach your financial goals. This will motivate you so much more. Allow yourself to dream audaciously and dream bigger than we really typically allow ourselves to, and it could really illuminate a very clear path to getting there. So once again, I just want to say congratulations if you've done all of these steps, or even some or most of these steps through the 12 Months to Get Good with Money program. I can't say enough how wonderful it feels to be able to add this value to your life, but I do want to just reiterate that if you did these things, you did these things, and these accomplishments are 100% your own. And I really want you to own that and then be able to kind of take that inspiration and motivation that comes from that fact and apply it towards these big, audacious dream goals. You are phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining me here on Teachers Talk Money. Please make sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, share it with somebody who you think could use this information. All of these things are so important to me to help me grow this channel and reach more teachers with this money information. Once again, I'm thrilled you're here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!